Scientists have noticed an intriguing habit. When leaving a cave, bats almost always turn left. Why? One theory suggests that this helps them avoid collisions in their large colony. Imagine an intersection without traffic lights, where thousands of cars decide to go only in one direction. It's the same for bats. This common rule of movement makes flying safer. What seems trivial to us is a matter of survival for them. In the dark, order is especially important, and nature has elegantly solved this issue. Left it is. Today, humanity has explored only 1 to 5% of the ocean. Everything else remains in the dark depths, where humans have rarely ventured. Unknown species, entire ecosystems, and even new sources of energy may be hidden there. Imagine, we know more about the moon than about the ocean floor. This paradox astonishes scientists and fuels the imagination. What lies beneath? Giant creatures, underwater cities, or just darkness? Each new descent of exploration devices reveals a piece of this mystery. It turns out that the ocean is the last great enigma on Earth. A story that challenges conventional understanding. Lomonosov discovered the atmosphere of Venus. In the 18th century, while observing Venus transit across the Sun's disk, Mikhail Lomonosov noticed a glowing halo around the planet. He deduced that this was not an optical illusion, but evidence of an atmosphere. This discovery made him the first person to prove that another planet has its own envelope. For modern astronomers, this seems obvious, but at the time, it was revolutionary. Lomonosov demonstrated that scientific intuition and careful observation can reveal what is invisible to others. It seems obvious that matches came first and then lighters, but it's the other way around. The first lighter was invented in 1823, while matches appeared 3 years later. It was created by the German chemist Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner and operated on hydrogen. The device looked bulky and dangerous, but the principle was the same: a spark and a flame. So the familiar pocket item once resembled a laboratory instrument. It's ironic that lighters are older than matches, even though matches are now seen as the more ancient way to make fire. In Australia, there is Lake Hillier, which changes color from soft pink to deep purple. This effect is created by special algae and minerals. Imagine flying in a plane and seeing a bright pink spot among the greenery of the island, as if a giant spilled strawberry yogurt. Scientists are still debating why the shade is so stable, as even in a bottle, the water from the lake retains its color. For tourists, it is one of the most unusual sights, a natural palette that looks like a scene from a sci-fi movie. Dubai loves to impress with architectural wonders, and one of the ideas is skyscrapers that rotate around their axis. Imagine a building where each floor can slowly turn, offering residents a new view: the sea in the morning, the desert in the evening, and the city lights at night. This technology requires complex solutions, but it transforms the building into a living mechanism. Additionally, the rotation helps evenly distribute sunlight throughout the building and saves energy. This is not just a striking concept, but a step towards smart architecture, where comfort and beauty go hand in hand. Dubai once again proves that the future is already here. In Venice, there is an unusual museum that showcases items recovered from the bottom of the canals. You can see coins, ancient tools, jewelry, and even musical instruments that have been submerged for centuries. Each exhibit is a piece of history, accidentally lost and later found. Imagine walking through the city, and somewhere beneath your feet in the mud lies a lost ring, or a merchant's wallet, only to be unearthed by archaeologists centuries later. This museum brings the past to life, revealing not the grand Venice, but its everyday life. It serves as a reminder that every forgotten object could one day become part of a larger story. Sloths are known for their slow lifestyle. They can hang on a tree for hours, moving at a leisurely pace. But they have an amazing skill. They can hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. In comparison, a human can typically hold their breath for 1 to 2 minutes. This ability helps sloths hide from predators and even swim across rivers while staying underwater. It seems incredible that such a slow creature possesses a superpower that few people know about. Their slowness, combined with respiratory endurance, makes them true survival masters, proving that their outward laziness is merely a facade hiding smart adaptations. An ant is like a small truck with a two-chamber system. One stomach is for itself, to digest food and gain energy, while the other is for the colony. It stores food there to share with other ants through a special process called trophallaxis. This means ants literally feed each other mouth to mouth, functioning together as a single organism. If one finds a sweet treat, it not only carries it home, but also shares it, so others know the way to the treasure. It's like if we could eat a pastry and immediately pass a piece to a friend straight from our stomach, along with the address of the nearest bakery. Sound can not only be heard, but also seen. This is demonstrated using so-called Chladni figures. A metal plate is sprinkled with sand and then vibrated using a bow or speaker. The grains of sand arrange themselves into intricate patterns: stars, circles, lines. Each frequency creates its own drawing. It's as if sound paints a picture right before your eyes. Interestingly, this experiment can even be replicated at home with simple materials. So, music is not just something you hear, but also something you can see if you know the clever trick. Elephants can listen to the earth with their feet. Their pads pick up low-frequency vibrations, steps of other elephants, thunderstorms, or even the movement of predators miles away. The signal travels through their bones to the brain, allowing the animal to understand what's happening around it. It's like having a built-in seismograph. Because of this, elephants can communicate with each other over vast distances, as if using a secret channel. Imagine walking barefoot and suddenly sensing that someone familiar is stomping far away. Remarkably, for elephants, their ears are not the only hearing organs. Rabbits are cute and fluffy, but they have an interesting feature. Their bodies are designed in such a way that they cannot vomit. Food moves through their system in only one direction, which helps them avoid unnecessary energy loss. On one hand, this is a plus. Rabbits don't suffer from nausea. On the other hand, it's a downside. If they eat something harmful, they can't get rid of it. That's why the owners of these domestic little ears always monitor their diet. It's amusing that such delicate animals have a system that is more rigid than that of many predators. There is a specific disorder called dyscalculia, a kind of dyslexia for numbers. People with this condition struggle even with the simplest tasks. They find it hard to understand which number is larger, 6 or 7, or to count change in a store. Their ability to perceive time, navigate calculations, and remember numbers is often affected. Approximately 7.5% of people worldwide live with this condition. For them, math is not just a difficult subject, but an almost incomprehensible language. Interestingly, a person may be talented in music or art, yet numbers will remain a mystery to them. The myxomatosis virus nearly wiped out rabbits in Europe within a few years. French microbiologist Armand Delille tried to control the rabbit population on his estate by infecting them with the myxomatosis virus. However, the disease spiraled out of control. In just a few years, the virus spread across Europe and killed 98% of the rabbits. The culprit was fined, but the damage was done. An entire species was on the brink of extinction. Fortunately, rabbits proved to be resilient and gradually recovered their numbers. This case became one of the most striking examples of how human intervention can lead to ecological disaster. In the Finnish city of Tampere, charming robots have been created for cleaning parks. They are designed like little hedgehogs, with wheels instead of paws and sensors instead of noses. These devices find and collect trash, leaving clean pathways behind. It looks as if amusing mechanical creatures are scurrying across the lawn. People enjoy watching them, turning cleanup into a show. The hedgehog robots not only maintain order, but also remind everyone that ecology can be friendly and even fun. The Finns have once again demonstrated that technology can not only assist, but also make life more pleasant and warm. Sometimes reality sounds like fantasy. There is a lamp that has been burning for over 100 years. In the fire station of Livermore, California, a light bulb that was lit in 1901 is still shining. It has outlasted generations, wars, and technological changes, yet it continues to glow. Scientists have examined it and confirmed its authenticity. The reason lies in its carbon filament, which operates at a very low power. Interestingly, back then, lamps were made to last for centuries, while today they barely last a couple of years. This little lamp has become a symbol of a time when things were created not for profit, but for durability. Chicago is known as the Windy City, and many believe it's all about the weather. In reality, the nickname originated in the 19th century and referred to the city's politicians, who were famous for their long and pompous speeches. Journalists sarcastically remarked that Chicago was blown by the wind, not due to the climate, but because of empty words. Of course, the city does experience winds from Lake Michigan, but historically, it's more of a jab at talkative politicians than a meteorological fact. Interestingly, over time, the original meaning was forgotten, and the nickname remained, becoming the city's official calling card. A story that sounds like a paradox. A fashion brand burns its own bags. Louis Vuitton and other luxury brands destroy unsold goods. They do this to prevent items from going on sale and devaluing the brand. Bags, clothing, and accessories worth millions of dollars are burned or disposed of each year. It turns out that to maintain the company's image, they are willing to destroy what for many people symbolizes wealth. This is shocking, but in the fashion world, the logic is different. It's better to burn thousands of bags than to let them sell for less. The largest spider on the planet is the Goliath bird eater. Its leg span can reach 30 centimeters, and it weighs over 170 grams. This hairy giant can hunt not only insects, but also small rodents, lizards, and even chicks. When encountered, it can produce a frightening hissing sound by rubbing its legs together. Despite its fearsome appearance, its bite is not deadly to humans. It's similar to a wasp sting. However, the impression of an encounter is strong. It's like a small dog in the world of spiders. Scientists call it the king of spiders, and it's hard to argue with that. Some mushrooms have the amazing ability to glow in the dark. This process is called bioluminescence. At night, they emit a soft green light in the forest, creating a fairy tale atmosphere. Scientists believe this glow attracts insects that spread spores and help the mushrooms propagate. For humans, it appears as true magic, walking along a path and seeing the ground beneath your feet illuminated by mysterious lights. It's no wonder such mushrooms have inspired legends and tales. It serves as a reminder that even in the most ordinary grove, one can find wonder if they look closely at night. In Germany, in the town of Oberstdorf, a unique lift has been built that moves diagonally rather than vertically. It takes tourists up the mountainside at a 45-degree angle, combining features of both a funicular and a lift. Imagine stepping into the cabin, the doors closing, and instead of the usual vertical movement, you start gliding as if on a slope. For those who love unusual experiences, it's a true adventure. Moreover, the view from the cabin is breathtaking. Mountains, forests, and sky seem to unfold before your eyes. This mode of transport demonstrates that engineering can be both practical and fun. Ocean giants, sperm whales, are capable of communicating over thousands of kilometers. These ocean behemoths use powerful vibrations for communication that travel through water over vast distances. Scientists suggest that one sperm whale can call another located on the other side of the ocean. However, these same vibrations can be dangerous for humans. Getting too close can lead to paralysis or even death. Thus, sperm whales have their own underwater telephone network that operates far more efficiently than many of our technologies. Their language has not yet been fully deciphered, but it is already clear that it is one of the most complex systems in the animal kingdom. The carnivorous plant Venus flytrap can literally count. When an insect touches its sensitive hairs, the trap doesn't close immediately. The plant waits for a second touch to ensure it's not just a random raindrop or a speck of dust. If the touch is repeated, the lobes snap shut. Scientists have found that the flytrap keeps an internal count, and a specific number of stimuli is also needed for digestion. This means the plant has a primitive memory and a decision-making system. This makes it resemble a creature with a brain, even though it doesn't have one. There is a strange yet very real phobia called majoraphobia, or the fear of cooking. For those who suffer from it, the kitchen becomes a room of horrors. Pots and pans seem dangerous, and the very act of cooking triggers panic. It's not just a reluctance to stand by the stove. It's a deep-seated fear that can literally paralyze a person. Someone may thrive on ready-made meals, but the thought of preparing something themselves brings on anxiety. This phobia is rare, but it vividly illustrates the diversity of fears. Some people are afraid of spiders, others of heights, while some fear an ordinary pot. Ultimately, it serves as a reminder that everyone has their own vulnerabilities. The space menu has long resembled a home-cooked one, featuring borscht and cutlets instead of just tubes. Today, meals in orbit are not much different from those on Earth. Astronauts eat borscht, cutlets, and porridge, all in special packaging. Soups are heated and consumed through a straw, while solid dishes are eaten with a spoon. The main difference is that food can float away, so everything is secured with Velcro and served carefully. Many are surprised to find that lunch in space is not a futuristic powder, but rather a familiar home menu. This way, an astronaut can feel almost at home during their meal. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies an intriguing secret. They have unique toes. These special bony structures help distribute their weight and allow the animals to move almost silently. Thanks to them, an elephant walks softly despite its tons of mass. They sense the ground like a cat's pads and provide stability even on unstable surfaces. This is why these giants can calmly tread on sand, clay, or even marshy land. Their gait is remarkably light, and if you close your eyes, you might not even notice a whole elephant sneaking up on you. Nature has once again demonstrated its engineering genius. The very first sound recording appeared in the 18th century, long before Edison's phonograph. The Frenchman Édouard Léon Scott de Martinville used a device called the phonautograph in 1860. It couldn't reproduce sound. It only left traces of sound waves on a glass plate. It wasn't until a century and a half later that scientists were able to decode these lines and heard a voice singing a French song. Thus, the first sounds were preserved as a ghost of the past, which could only come to life thanks to modern technology. When we see an iceberg, it appears to be a massive chunk of ice proudly floating in the ocean. But the most treacherous part is that 90% of its mass is hidden beneath the surface. This means we only see a small tip, while the bulk remains concealed in the depths. This is why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. The underwater portion can be many times larger than what is visible. It's no wonder the Titanic collided with such a massive block, completely unaware of its scale. An iceberg is like an iceberg of problems. What's on the surface is just a small part. The water keeps its secrets deep, and they can be fatal for those who underestimate the danger. It turns out that we perceive smells not only with our noses. Our skin has receptors that respond to aromatic substances. Scientists conducted experiments by applying certain scents to the skin and observed that the cells reacted. Moreover, some aromas accelerated wound healing. It seems that our skin acts like an additional sense organ that quietly works in the background. Imagine if we could smell the aroma of coffee, not just with our noses, but also with our palms. While this sounds fantastic, research shows that the skin does indeed pick up chemical signals. A story that sounds like a spy novel. Scientologists infiltrated U.S. government agencies. In the 1970s, followers of this religion conducted Operation Snow White. Their goal was to destroy documents that could harm the church. Scientologists secretly entered buildings, stole materials, and attempted to sabotage investigations. Ultimately, the FBI uncovered the conspiracy, making it one of the largest cases of illegal infiltration into government structures. For many, this event was shocking. A religious organization operated using intelligence agency tactics. It turns out that real life can sometimes be far more dramatic than fiction in movies. What's truly surprising is that the zipper was long considered a failed idea. Today, no jacket, bag, or backpack is complete without a zipper, but in the early 20th century, it didn't catch on at all. The first models seemed inconvenient and unreliable. Fashion was slow to embrace the innovation, preferring traditional buttons. It took 20 years for the zipper to gain popularity, first among the military and then in everyday clothing. Now it's hard to imagine a world without this invention, but at one time, the zipper was seen as almost a toy that would never take off. History once again shows that brilliant ideas often take time to be recognized. The computer keyboard is something we touch every day, but we rarely think about how many germs are on it. Studies show that there are often more bacteria on the keys than on a toilet seat. Crumbs, dust, and grease from our hands create the perfect environment for microbial life. Therefore, regular cleaning is not just a whim, but a matter of health. Sometimes, simply wiping the keyboard with disinfecting wipes or using a special vacuum for electronics is enough. So as you type a message or play a game, remember, beneath your fingers lies an entire zoo. And perhaps computer hygiene is more important than we tend to think. The most numerous bird in the world is neither the sparrow nor the pigeon, but the tiny red-billed qualia. This small bird, found in Africa south of the Sahara, gathers in massive flocks and literally devastates grain fields. For farmers, they are a true plague. Thousands of these birds can strip a harvest in just a few hours. The flocks of quailias are so enormous that they appear like a moving cloud. Scientists consider them the most abundant bird species on Earth. Ironically, in cities we tend to view pigeons as symbols of mass presence, but the record actually belongs to these small African weavers. Today, the Earth's population has surpassed 8 billion people. Imagine, that's 8 billion stories, voices, smiles, and destinies. For comparison, in just the last 100 years, we've quadrupled in number. Once, only a few million people lived on the planet, and now that many can reside in a single large city. This figure prompts us to think about the future. Will resources be sufficient? Will we learn to care for the planet? Yet at the same time, 8 billion represents 8 billion opportunities, ideas, and discoveries that could change the world. In Hong Kong, some people live in apartments the size of a regular closet. Due to the housing shortage, so-called coffin apartments have emerged. Their area can be as small as 4 square meters, about the size of a large bed. People literally live in boxes, a small bed, a narrow shelf, sometimes a tiny table, and that's it. These apartments are officially called micro-apartments, but the residents ironically refer to them as coffins. The UN has even described this phenomenon as an affront to human dignity. Imagine, after a workday, you return not to a home, but to a cramped box where you can't even stand up straight. Strangely, female tarantulas live much longer than males, up to 40 years. While males have a short lifespan after reaching maturity, females can survive for several decades. Moreover, they can go without food for up to 2 years if they have access to water. This resilience makes them some of the most unusual spiders. For many, tarantulas symbolize fear, but in reality, they are surprisingly patient and enduring creatures. Their lives are slow, almost stretched out in time. And if spiders know how to wait, female tarantulas are true champions of this art. Iceland is one of the few places on Earth without mosquitoes. The climate here is such that insects can't complete their life cycle. It's too cold in winter and the temperature changes too rapidly in summer. For tourists, it's a paradise. You can stroll through forests and by lakes without the annoying buzzing. The locals joke that this is one of their country's main advantages. Imagine summer, a campfire, a tent, and not a single mosquito bite. For us, it sounds like a dream, but for Icelanders, it's just a way of life. Many people consider donkeys to be stubborn and dull animals, but in reality, they are much smarter and more emotional than they seem. Donkeys have excellent memories for friends, both humans and other animals, and can hold on to such memories for up to 20 years. They can sense their owner's mood, enjoy attention, feel jealous, and even become sad if ignored. In fact, donkeys have a rich inner world and value friendship just as much as dogs do. Therefore, it's not surprising that in countries where donkeys live alongside people, they are regarded not just as helpers, but almost as full-fledged family members. Those ears and gentle eyes hide much more than we tend to think. In 2019, Bulgarian Vasily Ivanov set an unusual record by blowing out 58 candles in one breath. He used a special device that directed the airflow to all the candles at once. Just imagine the strength of the lungs needed to handle that many flames. A regular person struggles to blow out a dozen candles on a cake, and here he managed a whole string of them. This record made it into the Guinness Book and serves as an example of how even a simple action like blow harder can be turned into a world achievement. The cougar is a cat that seems to have checked off almost every location on the map. You can find it in the mountains of Canada, the deserts of Chile, the forests of the United States, and even on the outskirts of cities. It adapts to any conditions, from snow to heat. No wonder it's called the cat with 1,000 addresses. Unlike many large predators, the cougar is not afraid of human proximity and sometimes appears near settlements. Yet it remains elusive and cautious. It's an incredible example of survival. Where tigers and lions are confined to specific territories, the cougar roams freely across an entire continent. Some species of turtles can breathe through their cloaca. It sounds funny, but it's actually an important survival adaptation. During cold weather, they can be under ice, where there's almost no oxygen. That's when special cavities in the cloaca come into play, allowing them to absorb oxygen from the water. It's a sort of backup breathing. The turtle seems to say, "Well, if my nose and mouth aren't working, I have an alternative." This mechanism enables them to stay underwater for hours and even hibernate without coming up for air. Many people believe that lightning never strikes the same place twice, but that's a myth. In reality, for example, The Empire State Building in New York gets hit by lightning about 100 times a year. Tall buildings and structures seem to attract electricity, and their tops are specially equipped with lightning rods to prevent damage from strikes. So lightning doesn't avoid old spots. In fact, it loves to return to them again and again. So if you find yourself near a skyscraper during a storm, know that it's one of the most common places for lightning to meet the ground. Nature once again proves that it doesn't adhere to pretty sayings. Did you know that linear perspective in painting is a little trick of the eye? Renaissance artists began using a special technique to create space, making their paintings appear three-dimensional. The secret lies in how lines and shadows create the illusion of depth, even though the canvas remains flat. Sometimes it seems as if the gaze of a character in the painting literally follows you wherever you go. It's a play of light, shadow, and perspective. For the modern eye, this is familiar, but in the 14th century, such works looked like true magic, as if the artist had managed to turn a piece of fabric into a window to another world. Butterflies have taste receptors located right on their legs. When they land on a flower, they taste it with their feet. This helps them determine whether the plant is suitable for feeding or laying eggs. For us, taste involves our tongue and lips, while for butterflies, it's a light touch of their legs. So every landing is like a tasting session for them. It's amusing to think that if humans had the same ability, we would taste soup just by touching our fingers to the bowl. But for butterflies, it works perfectly. You won't believe it, but a parrot swore at the funeral of a U.S. president. Andrew Jackson, the 7th President of America, had a favorite parrot. His owner often cursed, and the bird quickly picked up the habit. When Jackson died, the parrot was brought to the funeral, but instead of a solemn silence, the guests heard a stream of profanity. The priest had to ask for it to be removed to avoid embarrassing the attendees. It created a strange scene. A president known for his strong character and his feathered friend, who seemed to continue his speech even after death. The story shows that even parrots can leave a vivid legacy. In the town of Coober Pedy in southern Australia, people hide from the heat underground. There, they have not only homes, shops, and churches, but even a post office. Imagine walking into a rock and finding a regular post office inside, complete with a window, stamps, and mailboxes. Everything operates just like on the surface, except the walls are made of sandstone and the temperature is pleasantly cool year-round. Tourists are thrilled. It's rare to send a postcard from an actual underground office. For the locals, however, it's just a part of life, a way to survive in a climate where the ground literally melts from the heat in summer. The blue whale is the largest animal on the planet. Its heart can be compared to a small car. The arteries are so wide that theoretically a person could fit inside them. Each beat of this giant engine pumps tons of blood through its body, sustaining a creature that weighs hundreds of tons. Imagine what such a heart would sound like up close. A rumble comparable to the bass at a rock concert. And it works continuously for decades. We often talk about the heart as a symbol of strength and love, and for the whale, it is literally the largest on Earth. We often perceive the nose as just an ordinary organ of smell, but in reality, it is incredibly complex. It was once believed that humans could distinguish around 10,000 scents. Today, we know that our nose can detect up to 1 trillion different aromas. It's a whole universe of sensations, from the smell of fresh bread to the subtle notes of smoke or gas that can warn us of danger. Think about it. The nose helps you recall childhood memories through the aroma of grandma's pies or feel the excitement of spring through the scent of damp earth. We tend to consider sight as the primary sense, but the nose is a true superhero, working quietly and unnoticed, saving us from mistakes every day and filling our lives with memories. It's hard to believe, But guilt can arise even from happiness. In psychology, this is referred to as survivor's guilt. This state is often experienced by those who have survived a tragedy or by those who are doing well while their loved ones are suffering. Joy can feel like a betrayal. A person may begin to feel internal discomfort because they have what others lack: health, a job, a family. It's paradoxical, as happiness should bring joy, yet sometimes it becomes a burden. This phenomenon reminds us that emotions do not always adhere to logic. Avocado nearly disappeared from the face of the earth and survived only thanks to humans. Once, giant Pleistocene animals, mammoths, giant sloths, and woolly rhinoceroses ate avocado fruits whole and helped spread the seeds. But these giants went extinct, and the plant could have vanished with them. However, humans stepped in. Our ancestors began cultivating avocados and preserving their culture for thousands of years. Today, we see it as a trendy ingredient for smoothies and toast. But in reality, it serves as a living reminder that many species survived only because humans became their partners. In China, there is an unusual village called Beima, where many residents live to be 100 years old or more. Scientists attribute this to a combination of clean air, mineral water, and a local diet rich in herbs and vegetables, with almost no bad habits. However, the locals have a different perspective. The secret lies in harmony with nature and a positive mindset. People here continue to work physically into old age, take walks, tend to their gardens, and their lives are filled with movement. Tourists come to see these lively seniors, hoping to adopt their habits. This place has become a symbol of the idea that longevity is not just about genetics, but also about a lifestyle that values simplicity and tranquility. Sometimes pirates went to sea not for gold, but for hats. In the 17th century, English pirate Benjamin Hornigold once stopped a merchant ship, but he wasn't interested in gold or spices. He and his crew had overindulged the night before and thrown their hats overboard. So Hornigold demanded only new headgear from the crew. It's a funny situation. Imagine how terrified the merchants were, expecting a raid, only to be told, "We just need hats." Even fearsome pirates found themselves in silly everyday stories. Imagine a person who would have to eat 100 pizzas a day to survive. Tiny hummingbirds expend so much energy that they eat almost every 15 minutes. Their metabolism is so accelerated that if a human had the same, they would need to consume about 150,000 calories a day. That's roughly equivalent to eating 100 large pizzas daily. Without food, a hummingbird can die in just a few hours, so they live in a constant race for fuel. Their tiny hearts beat at an incredible rate, and their bodies operate at full capacity. These birds are like the sports cars of the natural world. In Rome, a pizza over 40 meters in diameter was once baked. It was named Ottavia, in honor of the Roman emperor. The weight of this culinary monster exceeded 23 tons. Special ovens and a team of pizzaiolos worked for several days to prepare it. Imagine a square where instead of asphalt, there's a giant crust topped with tomato sauce and cheese. This pizza could feed an entire city. Interestingly, it was completely gluten-free, ensuring that the record not only amazed, but also catered to those with dietary restrictions. A true gastronomic spectacle for all of Italy. Strangely enough, little Albania has turned into a country of bunkers. In the mid-20th century, dictator Enver Hoxha ordered the construction of defensive structures in case of war. The result was around 700,000 concrete bunkers scattered across the country. They were placed on the shores, in the mountains, in backyards, and even near schools. The country resembled a stone anthill. Today, many bunkers are abandoned. Some have been transformed into cafes, museums, and even housing. For tourists, they are a curiosity, while for Albanians, they serve as a reminder of a time when the fear of war was literally embedded in the landscape. Who would have thought that the most stolen book in the world is the Bible? Despite the sanctity of the text, it is the Bible that is most often the target of theft. In hotels, libraries, and stores, it is stolen more frequently than any other book. Perhaps it's because it's always within reach, or because someone considers it public property. Ironically, the book that contains the commandment, "Thou shalt not steal," is most often the one that gets stolen. This serves as a reminder that even the most elevated ideas can clash with the everyday weaknesses of human nature. In the ocean, there are real lakes hidden beneath the water's surface. They are called brines or salt pools. The reason is that in certain areas, the water is so saturated with salt that it becomes denser than regular seawater. As a result, a boundary forms, resembling the surface of a new lake, even though it lies on the ocean floor. These pools look astonishing. Underwater, there is another surface, smooth and shiny. Unique organisms adapted to extreme conditions thrive in them. Scientists study these places as analogs of extraterrestrial worlds, as life there is vastly different from what we know. It turns out that even on our planet, one can find almost alien landscapes. In Bhutan, almost half of the residents walk to work every day. The roads there don't always accommodate cars, and the mountainous terrain makes walking a natural part of life. Imagine, in the morning people ascend trails with views of the Himalayas, and in the evening they return the same way. For them, it's not about sports or fitness. It's just a regular means of getting around. Perhaps that's why Bhutanese are considered some of the happiest people. They connect work with nature every day, breathe fresh air, and enjoy stunning landscapes. Strange but true, products are intentionally made to be short-lived. This practice is known as planned obsolescence. Manufacturers incorporate parts that break down after a few years or stop producing spare parts to force people to buy new items. This applies to phones, printers, light bulbs, and even clothing. For companies, it's a way to earn more, while for consumers it creates a constant race for upgrades. The result is a paradox. Technology advances, yet items increasingly last less than they could. This is not a coincidence, but a carefully crafted strategy. In Pakistan, you can find a tree bound in real chains. Since 1898, there has been an arrested tree. The legend says that a British officer in a drunken state believed the tree was about to escape and ordered it to be chained. Absurd, of course, but the tree still stands with its iron shackles, now as a tourist attraction. People come to see this strange blend of nature and human imagination. It has become a true prisoner of conscience, only green and silent. Excessively bright light can harm the psyche just as much as noise. We tend to think of light as a sign of comfort and safety, but too much of it can lead to stress, anxiety, and even headaches. Overly lit offices or shopping centers can be just as draining as loud sounds. Scientists refer to this phenomenon as light pollution for the mind. Just as laundry can't dry in fog, the brain can't rest in a constant stream of bright light. Therefore, it's important to regulate lighting. Sometimes soft, dim light is more beneficial than glaring lamps that turn a room into a sterile laboratory. In Armenia, a chocolate bar weighing over 4 tons was once created. It measured 5.5 meters long and nearly 3 meters wide. Making it took 10 days and a huge amount of cocoa beans. Imagine, an entire stadium of children could have feasted on this chocolate field. When the chocolate was finally unveiled at the celebration, it wasn't placed in a museum. It was simply broken apart and shared with the people. There's something touching about this. The largest sweet symbol in history became a communal treat. It's as if the very idea of chocolate, sharing joy, materialized in this record-breaking bar. If you take a standard deck of 52 cards and shuffle it well, you can't even imagine what you're holding in your hands. The number of possible combinations is so vast that it can be expressed with 60 zeros. Imagine shuffling the cards, and almost certainly you get a unique order that has never existed in human history and will never exist again. Each time it's like creating a new universe right on the table. Playing cards after this feels like real magic. A simple game transforms into a journey through infinite possibilities. Even a regular game of Durac or poker suddenly gains special significance, as in your hands a unique combination is born that will vanish forever the moment you gather the cards back. It may seem surprising, but trousers, once considered a symbol of savagery, were ridiculed by the ancient Greeks, who mocked the Persians for wearing them, calling them bags. For the Greeks and Romans, the tunic was the attire of a civilized person. Trousers were seen as coarse and barbaric clothing until the Romans, expanding northward, encountered the Celts and adopted this practical wardrobe item. It's amusing to think that today, it's hard to imagine our world without trousers, while they were once a sign of barbarism. The history of fashion knows how to take incredible turns. On the island of St. Helena lives a tortoise named Jonathan, who is around 190 years old. He was born in the 19th century and has witnessed changes in eras, wars, and technologies. Imagine, when Jonathan was young, there was no electricity in every home, and now people are launching satellites into space. Yet the tortoise continues to peacefully graze on grass and bask in the sun. His life is like a living chronicle of history. People come from all over the world just to catch a glimpse of this time machine with a shell. Fleas are true acrobats of the insect world. They can jump up to 350 times their body length. For comparison, if a human had such an ability, they could leap over a skyscraper or easily reach the top shelf in a library without a ladder. The secret of fleas lies in a special protein called resilin, which acts like a spring. They store energy and release it instantly, like miniature catapults. This allows them to escape danger and find new hosts. Their small size makes them almost invisible, but they possess enough strength to make any athlete envious. Vladimir Lenin was not only a revolutionary, but also an avid chess player. During his exile in Siberia, he played correspondence games, solved chess problems and studies, and later often used chess metaphors in his writings. For him, chess was not just a game, but a training ground for strategic thinking. Imagine, he could manage several games at once while in exile and simultaneously work on political texts. Chess helped him hone his patience and ability to calculate moves. Thus, the revolutionary known for decisive actions was a cool-headed strategist on the board, capable of waiting for the right moment to make a winning move. Imagine that the North Star is not just a solitary light, but a whole family. We tend to think of the North Star as a lone beacon for travelers in the night. However, it is not a singleton, but rather an entire ensemble. There lies a trio, the bright Polaris A, its tiny companion Polaris AB, and the neighbor Polaris B. To us on Earth, they merge into a single point, but through astronomers' telescopes, this celestial trio becomes visible. Picture a lantern where the light comes not from one bulb, but from an entire string of lights. It's symbolic. Even the guiding star, which has served as a landmark for centuries, does not stand alone, but is part of a team. Today we send each other emojis, hearts, and pizza in chats as if they've always existed. But the first emojis appeared in Japan in the late 90s. There were only 176 of them, and they looked very simple. A sun, a phone, a smiling face. Back then it seemed trivial, But now emojis have turned into a real language understood all over the world. It's amusing that the idea came from a Japanese mobile company. They just wanted to make communication easier for their users. Now the entire world expresses emotions through these tiny images. You could say that without these little symbols, texting would be dull, like tea without sugar. Robert Howard, the author of Conan the Barbarian, was a friend and ally of H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft, the creator of the Cthulhu mythos, was a close friend of Robert Howard, the legendary creator of Conan. They corresponded, discussed their works, and inspired each other. When Howard took his own life at the age of 30, Lovecraft was deeply shaken and soon succumbed to illness and depression. Their friendship became a link between Lovecraft's dark cosmic horror and Howard's heroic fantasy. Thus, two completely different genres, horror and epic adventure, somehow emerged from a single creative friendship. You've probably seen a flamingo or a duck standing on one leg. This isn't acrobatics. It's a way to conserve heat. Birds lose a lot of energy through their legs, and by tucking one leg under their feathers, they reduce heat loss by almost half. It would seem wild for us. Try standing like that for even 10 minutes. But flamingos can even sleep while balancing on one leg, like yogis in nature. Scientists call it unilateral resting, but essentially, it's just a comfortable habit. Birds know the secret to comfort better than we do. Some monkeys, like macaques, cannot stick out their tongues. Their muscle structure limits this movement. For us, sticking out our tongues is a childish prank or a way to tease a friend, but for them, it's impossible. Interestingly, macaques manage their food perfectly well. They crack hard fruits, process bark, and use their hands with remarkable precision. So the absence of a flexible tongue is compensated by their dexterous fingers. It's as if nature said, "All right, the tongue will be immobile, but I'll give you hands like a jeweler's." This makes their lives no less rich. They simply express themselves through actions rather than words. The world of mammals is diverse. Some run, some swim, some jump, but only bats can truly fly. Their wings are membranes stretched over elongated fingers, not feathers like birds. This structure makes them incredibly agile. Additionally, bats use echolocation. They emit sounds that bounce off objects, allowing them to navigate in the dark by the echoes. This enables them to hunt at night with missile-like precision. Bats play a crucial role in the ecosystem, consuming millions of insects and pollinating plants. These small nocturnal hunters are true masters of the air. The blue whale is not only the largest, but also the loudest inhabitant of the earth. Its call reaches up to 188 decibels, louder than a departing airplane. These sounds can be heard up to 800 kilometers away underwater. The whale acts like a marine radio transmitter, communicating with other giants over vast distances. For us, it would be a deafening roar, but for them, it's a gentle song. Imagine, deep in the ocean where it's dark and empty, a powerful bass suddenly resonates, heard by whales scattered across the sea. It's a true symphony of nature. In Japan, there are unusual hotels where guests are greeted not by people, but by robots. Imagine being welcomed by an android at the reception, while a mechanical porter delivers your luggage to your room. Even cleaning and service are partially handled by machines. This network is called Henna Hotel, and it has become a true attraction. For tourists, it's an opportunity to glimpse the future, where technology and service merge into one. Of course, sometimes robots make mistakes, and humans have to step in, but the experiences are unforgettable. The Japanese have once again proven that if you're looking for futuristic ideas in everyday life, you should look to them. A hotel with robots is a reality where you can spend the night today. Want to hear one of the strangest reasons for toxicity? Bright poison dart frogs are deadly. Their skin secretes a toxin that can kill a human. But here's the surprising part: they aren't toxic on their own. In captivity, where they are fed a regular diet, their skin becomes safe. It turns out the secret lies in their diet. In the wild, they eat specific ants and insects that contain toxic substances. So the poison is a result of their nutrition. Nature seems to show that even a small frog can become a weapon if it has the right ingredients on its menu. The Sahara is not just a sea of sand, but also a place where it can sing. Some dunes emit a low hum or even melodic sounds when the sand slips down their slopes. It's like an organ built right into the desert. The reason lies in the unique shape and size of the grains. They rub against each other and create vibrations. Imagine walking on a dune, and suddenly the entire mound starts to resonate, as if alive. Travelers describe this sound as enchanting and mystical. It's no wonder that local tribes have legends about spirits singing in the sands. Interestingly, even the mightiest trees have a limit to their growth. It turns out that no tree on the planet can exceed a height of about 130 meters. The reason lies in physics. Water cannot rise up the trunk beyond a certain level. It's like trying to drink through a straw the length of a skyscraper. At some point, the liquid simply stops. This is why even the majestic sequoias, the tallest trees in the world, reach this invisible threshold. We look up at them in awe of their grandeur, but they too are subject to the strict laws of nature that impose a limit where it seems there could be infinity. Trends in animal fashion often lead to illness and suffering for them. So-called designer dog and cat breeds look unusual and cute. Short legs, flat faces, and huge eyes. However, behind this cuteness lie serious problems. Due to artificial selection, these animals frequently suffer from congenital diseases, ranging from breathing issues to joint deformities. In Scotland, a law has even been passed to prohibit the breeding of such breeds to prevent further suffering. People aimed to make animals more beautiful, but instead, they have bestowed upon them constant torment. This is a striking example of how the desire for fashion can turn against nature itself. We tend to think of the skin as just a shell that protects the body, but in reality, it resembles a vast city inhabited by billions of tiny neighbors, bacteria, fungi, and other microbes. Their numbers exceed those of all the people on Earth. Sounds alarming. Actually, it's a good thing. These invisible residents help keep the skin healthy, fight infections, and maintain balance. You could say that everyone has a personal army of bodyguards that we don't even notice. They live with us constantly, day and night, maintaining order on the skin's surface. So the next time you think about cleanliness, remember, your skin is a whole kingdom of invisible allies. In Madagascar, baobabs grow, captivating not only with their appearance, but also with their remarkable ability. Their roots can move in search of moisture. Of course, the tree itself doesn't walk, but its root system gradually extends in the necessary direction, creating the illusion that the baobab is shifting across the ground. This adaptation helps it survive in drought conditions. For the locals, the baobab is a sacred tree, a symbol of strength and longevity. Its fruits and leaves are used for food and medicine, while the trunk can serve as a home or a water reservoir. The baobab stands as a guardian of the island, capable of finding a way even where hope seems lost. In the late 90s, Furby toys appeared in the U.S., furry, chatty creatures with electronic eyes. Rumors circulated that they could record conversations and send them somewhere. It got to the point where they were officially banned from government facilities, including the National Security Agency. Of course, it turned out that Furbies were not spies at all, just a myth and panic surrounding a new toy. But history shows how people sometimes fear technology. A toy designed for children's play briefly became a dangerous agent. Funny, isn't it? We tend to think of the world as having three kingdoms: animals, plants, and fungi. Most often we classify fungi as plants, but the truth is they are much closer to animals. They share a common ancestor with us that dates back over 1 billion years. Unlike plants, fungi cannot photosynthesize. They obtain nutrients by decomposing organic matter. Essentially, they eat like animals. So a champignon or a honey mushroom is not just a little plant with a cap, but a distant relative of ours. Fungi are true recyclers of nature. They return nutrients to the soil, give life to new plants, and without them, ecosystems would simply collapse. The story of Jack Daniels holds a secret. Its origins are tied to an African-American master. Nathan Nearest Green was born into slavery, and after gaining his freedom, he became a true distillation expert. He taught young Jack Daniel the art of distillation. Today, his name is officially recognized as the first master distiller at the distillery where the legendary brand later emerged. For a long time, this was kept quiet, and only recently has the story come to light. It turns out that the recipe for the famous whiskey owes its existence to a man who has been nearly forgotten. This serves as a reminder that many brands have invisible heroes behind them. Today, the pyramids of Giza appear gray and austere, but in ancient times they looked quite different. They were covered with smooth white limestone slabs that reflected sunlight and shone like giant mirrors in the desert. The peaks of some pyramids were adorned with golden caps, pyramidions, that sparkled especially brightly. Imagine how it must have looked: white mountains with golden tops under the blazing sun. Modern tourists see only the stone cores, but once these were the most dazzling structures on Earth, symbols of the wealth and power of the pharaohs. Even now, thousands of years later, they still captivate the imagination. In Switzerland, animal welfare is taken to the level of laws. You can't keep a single guinea pig alone, only in pairs or groups. This is because these little creatures are very social and quickly become sad and even ill without company. Imagine buying one guinea pig, and you could face a fine, as the state considers loneliness to be real suffering for them. On the bright side, owners know that their pets live in small groups where they can always interact, sleep together, or share a carrot. This law demonstrates that animals are not toys, but living beings with feelings, and they deserve to be treated with humanity. In the Atlantic Ocean lies Tristan da Cunha, the most remote inhabited place on the planet. The nearest mainland is nearly 2,500 kilometers away, and only about 260 people live there. The only way to reach the island is by ship, taking 6 days from South Africa. There are no airports, shopping centers, or hotels, and almost all the residents are descendants of sailors and settlers. Life here seems to be stuck in another time. People live in a community, grow their own food, and know each other by name. For a tourist, it's a unique experience to find oneself in a world where civilization is left behind the horizon. Tokyo Tower is very similar to the Eiffel Tower, but it's painted in orange and white. The most interesting part is that it weighs almost half as much. This is due to the new generation steel used in its construction in the 1950s. The lightweight yet strong metal allowed for the creation of a massive structure without unnecessary heaviness. It turned out to be an acrobatic building, tall, stable, and yet slim. The tower became a symbol of Japan's recovery after the war, and its silhouette still adorns Tokyo. It serves as a reminder that technology can be both powerful and elegant. Sometimes a word that sounds like a joke hides a very real pain in the muscles. Caripatura is a term sometimes used to refer to muscle soreness, that familiar feeling when your muscles start to ache after a workout. Scientifically, it's called delayed onset muscle soreness and occurs due to microtears in the fibers. The body responds to the strain with inflammation to repair the tissues, which is why the muscles hurt more the next day. In everyday life, this is perceived as a punishment for exercising, but in reality, it's a sign that the body is adapting and becoming stronger. One could say that caripatura is a receipt that the body gives you for the work done. In ancient Rome, fashion could be both strange and bold. To achieve a rich dark hair color, noble women used not dye, but leeches. They would take them, place them in a vessel, let them ferment, and then apply the resulting goo to their hair. It sounds horrifying, but at the time, it was considered a true beauty secret. Imagine a modern salon. A client walks in and is offered leeches shampoo. We would run away in horror, but for the Romans, it was a normal grooming ritual. Interestingly, thousands of years later, we are still willing to undergo bizarre procedures for beauty. Only now they smell a lot better. In 2017, Emma Morano from Italy passed away, the last person born in the 19th century. She lived to be 117 years old and witnessed a world changing faster than ever before. Imagine, in her childhood, there were no airplanes or televisions, and by the end of her life, people were using smartphones and the internet. She experienced 2 world wars, dozens of rulers, and an entire era. Emma's story serves as a reminder that each person carries a whole library of time within them, and with her passing, the last page of the 19th century was turned. When you hear the word bison, it sounds like a joke. But no, bison are a real hybrid of cattle and buffalo. These animals combine the strength and endurance of wild bison with the hardiness of domestic cows. They were specifically bred in the U.S. to create a robust and resilient livestock capable of thriving in harsh conditions. As a result, bison have become true stars of agriculture. They adapt well and produce delicious meat. Imagine encountering a creature in the field that looks both familiar and exotic, as if 2 worlds have merged into one body. Nature and humans sometimes create unusual alliances, and bison are a striking example of how an experiment can lead to an extraordinary animal. Today, speeding is a common offense, but the first case in history is quite amusing. In 1896 in England, a man named Walter Arnold was fined for driving at just 13 kilometers per hour. Back then, that was 4 times the allowed speed. The police caught up with him on a bicycle. The story became a sensation as cars were just starting to gain popularity. Today, 13 kilometers per hour seems laughable, but this incident marked the beginning of a long history of traffic regulations. It's funny that it all started with such a modest violation. Egypt can confidently be called the oldest state in the world. Its history spans over 5,000 years, beginning with the unification of Upper and Lower Kingdoms. The pyramids, temples, and the mysterious Nile are not just beautiful images, but symbols of a civilization that laid the foundation for many cultures. Imagine, while Europe was still unaware of writing, the Egyptians were already constructing majestic tombs and writing in hieroglyphs. And even though thousands of years have passed, Egypt still holds secrets that scholars are unraveling, like the pages of the oldest book in the world. Do you want to know where the term carbon footprint originated? Today, this term refers to an individual's contribution to atmospheric pollution, but few know that the idea was conceived by the oil and gas giant BP. The company hired advertising specialists to shift the focus from industrial emissions to the responsibility of ordinary people. Thus, the myth of personal guilt for the climate crisis was born. As a result, millions began to track how many bags they used or how many kilometers they traveled, while corporations continued to extract oil. It turns out that the very concept we perceive as environmental was originally a clever marketing ploy. Flamingos can stand on one leg for hours. For us, it's a feat of balance, but for them, it's complete relaxation. Their joints are structured in a way that makes holding the pose easy and almost effortless. Think of it as having a built-in freeze-frame mode. Scientists don't fully understand how this works. It's as if their muscles lock in place, allowing the bird to even fall asleep without losing balance. Imagine a yogi meditating in a complex pose for hours, but without the slightest tension. For flamingos, it's as natural as sitting in a chair is for us. Fish are not as silent as they seem. Many species have their own ways of talking. Some tap their bones, others produce a sound similar to drumming, and some snap their teeth. These sounds help defend territory, attract mates, or simply maintain contact with the school. Underwater, there is a constant chorus, but we don't hear it due to the limitations of human hearing. If humans could perceive all these sounds, swimming underwater would feel like a real concert, with each creature performing its part. The starfish eats in a rather unusual way. It turns its stomach inside out and wraps it around its prey, such as a shell. The food is digested externally, and then the stomach is pulled back in. It's like a portable container. Take it out, eat, and put it away. This method allows the starfish to handle prey that is difficult to swallow whole. It's amusing that behind the calm appearance of these sea creatures lies such a trick with their stomachs. They seem to know the secret to an unconventional approach to eating. You've probably noticed that sometimes chocolate develops a white coating. Many people think it's spoiled, but no, it's just fat bloom, when cocoa butter rises to the surface due to temperature changes. The taste remains almost unchanged, and this chocolate is safe to eat. It's as if the bar has grayed from stress, looking odd on the outside, but still sweet on the inside. Interestingly, manufacturers sometimes explain this on the packaging so that people don't get scared. So if you see that white coating, don't throw it away. Just give it a second chance. Once, Xerox was not a generic term, but a proud brand name. Today we say, make a photocopy, even when using a completely different machine. This is an example of so-called brand genericide, when a name becomes so popular that it turns into a generic term. The same has happened with escalator, Scotch tape, and even Frisbee. For the company, this is not a cause for celebration but a serious loss. They lose legal protection, and the brand no longer belongs to its creators. The paradox is that excessive fame can turn into a disaster. You created a legend, and now it roams the world without you. In Kenya, there is a remarkable phenomenon known as moving lakes. These saline bodies of water can disappear for months and then reappear elsewhere when the rains come. It seems as if the Earth itself is shifting them on the map. In reality, this is linked to underground rivers and tectonic processes that direct the water to areas with voids. For the local people and animals, it poses a real challenge. Birds and herds are forced to follow the water as if it were a living entity. Imagine, a familiar lake has vanished, and you search for it in a new location, as if trying to catch up with an old friend. These wandering lakes demonstrate that nature operates by its own rules, and sometimes even the most familiar things, like water, can be unpredictable. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system. Its diameter is only about 5,000 kilometers, which is less than half of Earth's. Imagine a sphere the size of Africa. That's roughly what it is. Yet Mercury is also the fastest. It orbits the Sun in just 88 Earth days. While we celebrate one new year, Mercury manages to celebrate 4. On its surface, there's hellish heat during the day and icy cold at night. It turns out to be a planet of contrasts, small, fast, and very harsh, like a cosmic sprinter living in an extreme rhythm. It may seem like ordinary things, but if you take a closer look, they hold the most unexpected stories. If you enjoyed this journey through the world of curiosities, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's even more to come that textbooks have kept silent about.